Welcome back, everyone in YouTube land. This is your tinfoil hat economist coming back to you at the speed of light with episode number 18, End the Lockdowns or End the Economy. So today we turn our antenna to New York City and Moody's Investor Service, the credit rating guys, and they tell us there is a grim outlook. Okay, here they go. Moody's says we have lowered our 2021 real GDP forecast for all G20 nations. That's your largest 20 economies on the planet. They're looking for a 5% decrease in GDP in 2020 and 2021 in a long slog, and we won't get back to GDP levels that we had before the coronavirus hit. Grim outlook, but there's even more grim, my friends, even more grim. Risks to our forecast, say Moody's, are firmly on the downside. Blah, blah, blah. In the event that the pandemic is not contained and the lockdowns have to be reinstated, it is bad. Even without longer duration lockdowns, a self-perpetuating dynamic could take hold, resulting in large-scale reduction and destruction of businesses and entire sectors, as well as structurally high unemployment rates and a permanent loss of human capital and persistent malaise in consumption and investment. So that's what we get if we extend the lockdowns. We might get it anyway. So this is no fooling around time, guys. I think we've got to end the lockdowns. Now you might say, we end the lockdowns and we get more COVID-19 deaths. Well, not sure about that. There's a guy who won a Nobel Prize in chemistry, and unfortunately he's at Stanford. Now Stanford, as you may know, came out with a couple studies that said coronavirus cases are actually much higher because there's a lot of asymptomatic cases out there, and those challenges were studied, criticized, I should say, because they may have had false positives, and it was from Stanford, and it was right-wing. And here's another guy from Stanford. But hear him out. You can't judge a book by its cover. I just made that up. And here we go. This is Professor Michael Levitt, professor of structural biology at the Stanford School of Medicine, and a really smart guy. And he says he has a simple observation that the outbreak after outbreak of coronavirus, a similar mathematical pattern is observable regardless of government interventions. After about a 2-week period of exponential growth, some kind of break kicks in and growth starts slowing down. The growth quickly becomes sub-exponential. And of course, we do have the example of Sweden, which never went to lockdowns and is doing no better or no worse than the UK and worse than Norway. So, do the lockdowns work? We don't know. It doesn't seem like they work. We also have a strange example of Thailand. Now, Thailand is a country with 70 million inhabitants. They had heavy tourism from China. 1 million Chinese a month used to visit Thailand as tourists. Thailand has 70 million people, about 20%, a little less than the US. You know how many people have died from coronavirus in Thailand? 54. 54. You know how many died from coronavirus in the US? 66,385. So, there's just something wrong here. There's just something doesn't make sense about these numbers. Why would Thailand have such a lower death rate from coronavirus? But we know the risks of the lockdowns. We know it's destroying our economy. At the latest count, 30 million Americans have filed for unemployment. But some states can't keep up with the backlog. There may be more filed than recorded. There are self-employed and other people in the casual labor market. They've been unemployed, self-employed. Realtors, for example, don't really have a job. They work as real estate brokers. We're looking at 50 million unemployed, perhaps already, but certainly soon, and a labor force of about 165 million. If you take out the public sector, you're looking at 1 out of every 2 people in the private sector labor force not having a job if these lockdowns persist. It's simply unimaginable. It simply cannot stand. So I think we've got to end the lockdowns, and I hope that this is the position that is taken very soon by public officials and the public in the U.S. So this is your tinfoil hat economist signing off at the speed of light. I look forward to seeing all of you again in episode number 19.